Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be doing a first impressions of Vieve's makeup brushes. Yay! Okay, so Vieve came out with makeup brushes about 2 weeks ago. I was super excited to go and purchase them. As most of you know, Vieve is Jamie Genevieve's brand. She is a YouTuber here and quite popular, quite big in the makeup industry, particularly in the UK. So I wanted to get her makeup brushes and try them out. So this is the full expression makeup brush kit. It has 13 different brushes. We are going to be trying all of them today. I've actually haven't opened this yet before, so super excited to dive right in. All right, so it comes in this canister, which, okay, interesting. I like it. So this is very reminiscent actually of my favorite LaRousse brushes. Actually, I think here's one of their canisters up here. I'm a huge fan of the LaRousse brushes, by the way. I don't know if you're new here to my channel, welcome, hi, hello. But LaRousse brushes are actually some of my favorite brushes, and so they're really good. So I'm going to be super hard on the Vieve brushes today just because, well, there's a lot of players in the makeup brush space, and so you want the best of the best, right? So we're gonna really actually put these to the test and see if they are comparable to the LaRousse brushes, which I'm a huge fan of. Let's go ahead and open this. Okay, here we go. Oh, whoa. Oh, that's actually interesting. Oh, okay, all right, so when you open it, that way you don't accidentally like wreck all of your brushes when you're putting your brushes in and putting on the top. You can actually extend this inner portion here and then be able to close this box. That is actually quite innovative. I like that. I like that a lot. Ooh, interesting. They're very soft at first touch. I mean, these are very soft brushes. So the way that we're going to review these brushes is I'm going to apply my makeup today with all of them. And then I'm actually going to give them a wash, and I'm going to come back at the end of the week after they have dried, and I've used them again to be able to tell you my final thoughts on these brushes. So we are going to put these through the ringer to really see if they stand up to, I don't know. I'll be totally honest with you, all of Vieve's products so far that I've tried have been pretty incredible, and so I expect no less from her brushes. So let's go ahead and get started here. I've actually already primed my face. I used the Vieve Skin Nova, which I really like, and so we're going to go ahead and do foundations. I am using, this is the NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation in the shade Punjab. First brush that we're going to use is brush 117. This is the foundation brush, and let's go ahead here. I do really like how this foundation brush is kind of that dome shape. It's a little bit different than what you would normally expect from a foundation brush. Like usually I'm used to using like kabuki brushes, but I'm curious to see how this goes.
Kombucha brushes?
Kabuki brushes. What I'm looking for here with a foundation brush is I want to see that this blends foundation into my skin very quickly without any streaking. So far, it seems to be doing the job. I'm just using, instead of a buffing motion, I'm using a bit of a more sweeping motion to kind of blend this product in. This foundation's a tad light for me. Love the spring transition where you have to start fading out your winter shades and use your summer shades. Normally with one of the softer foundation brushes, I usually get very nervous with these because I feel like they tend to be a little bit more streaky when they're not super dense. Kind of like kabuki brushes are very dense, so they're great for foundation because you literally apply your foundation super quick. That's one of the reasons why I don't use the flat foundation brushes most of the time, just because I do feel like those tend to streak a bit more on your face, and I'm very anti-streaking, if you will, when I apply my foundation, because I just want to apply it as quickly as possible in the mornings and run out the door. That blended in my foundation super fast. I'm quite impressed so far. Okay, very good. We're now gonna do my eyeshadow, and actually what I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use the Eye Wand library, which I also picked up because I really love her matte eye wands. I think they're all really great. So it looks like we have 3 eye brushes as well. We have a large blender, a smaller blender that's a little bit more for that like defined work, and then we have the eyeshadow packer. So this is usually great for when you want to do your all over lid color. An eyeshadow smudger. So this is fantastic for when you're doing like the smudgy eyeliner look either on top or bottom. And then we also have a tiny little eyeshadow packer as well. So this is for precise work, which I like. And then we also have our angle brush, which you can use this either for eyeliner or for your eyebrows. Really just depends on kind of how you want to use this brush. But one thing that I haven't talked about yet, which I just realized, so we'll take a second to talk about it. I would say these brushes are actually on the lighter side. They're not as heavy as my LaRousse brushes. The LaRousse brushes just have a little bit more of a weight to them, but they are nicely balanced in that when you're holding it, it doesn't really feel like your brushes are gonna like fly out of your hand, or it doesn't feel like, they're too heavy so that you feel tired after applying your makeup, which I know sounds crazy, but it is a thing. Like, brushes have to be perfectly weighted in order for them to feel nice in your hands. And so that's just one thing that I've definitely noticed, is that they do feel lighter, but they're evenly balanced. Like, you can tell, like, it's a solid weight to them. Let's go ahead and get into her eye wand library. These are her matte eyeshadow sticks. She does have a couple of shimmer ones, but I haven't picked up any of those yet. And what we're gonna do today is a very, very simple, smoky, kind of smoky eye look. And I'm going to try and incorporate as many of these brushes into the look as possible. But we are gonna speed through this part just so we can save some time. So, used most of the eyeshadow brushes to do this very, very quick smoky eye with the eye wands. Before I even talk about the performance of these eye brushes, I just want to say the Vieve eye wands, if you are looking for a matte cream eyeshadow stick, no one does it better than Vieve. Honestly, these colors are absolutely incredible. They're so easy to use. They also stay on all day long. I've actually used several of these shades before, but I wanted to buy the full set just because I wanted all of them. And so actually my sister is going to get sand and hazelnut from me because I already have those eyeshadow sticks, so I'm going to give these to her. So let's talk about the way that these eyeshadow brushes performed. Not too bad, honestly. I would say that, they're very, very soft to the touch. I like how they blended out the eyeshadow. I thought they did a great job with the creams. The only thing that I noticed that I'm not entirely sure I'm very happy about is that one of them, and you can see it already hopefully on this brush here, right there, you can see that this brush has already started to shed. And then the other thing that I noticed is that sometimes with, I'm gonna get rid of this because this is very annoying to me. Sometimes with these brushes, when you are blending out your eyeshadow, what you don't want to happen is sometimes when they are so soft and flexible and move around so much, it's hard for you to control the exact precision of where you lay down that color, and sometimes that can be a huge, huge challenge. Now, I've watched Amy Genevieve for years, so I know what her makeup style is. Her makeup style is that she loves that really smoky, sultry look, particularly when she's doing like a smoky eyeshadow look. And so this actually, to me, feels a lot like what she would enjoy using because it did a really nice job of blending it out, but it definitely gave me, a little bit more of that diffused look. So if you're looking for super precise brushes, I would say maybe not so much with the blending brushes. There are a couple of other brushes out there that I would like more if I was trying to do like a cut crease or something like that and really define out my crease. But other than that, I thought that these brushes did a pretty good job. The next brush we're going to go ahead and try now is the 119 Conceal and Prime brush. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of my favorite drugstore concealers. This is from Maybelline. This is the Instant Age Rewind Concealer in the color Sand. So far, my first impressions of the brushes that I have tried so far, I just said that. Today is a very repetitive day. I am enjoying how these brushes are performing. I think everything has applied really well on my face. I like how soft these are. That's probably the number one thing that I am noticing, is that there's no scratching, there's no tugging or pulling as I apply products. It's kind of just blending everything really nicely into my skin, which I really enjoy. To set down my concealer, I'm going to go ahead and use the 123 Precision Powder Brush. I'm going to use ColourPop's Pretty Fresh Powder in Light 6. This is actually a relatively new discovery for me. If you are looking for a really nice under eye powder, this is also a really, really good one. Very impressed with it. I've just found myself reaching for it a lot lately. It kind of gives you that like perfectly airbrushed skin look, and who doesn't want that? You know what I mean? Yeah. These brushes are so soft. So soft. It's literally like I don't want to stop putting on my makeup because they're so soft. And then I'm going to use the larger brush. This is 127 Powder and Bronze brush. I'm going to go ahead and use this to set down the rest of my face. One thing I want to note is that if you look at these brushes, I kind of like that they go from that white bristle to kind of that, it kind of has a yellowish tinge on top. I'm willing to bet these are one of those brushes where you don't tend to be able to get a lot of the color out of them, like they tend to stain. And so I'm curious to see, after I wash these, what the brushes look like. And I'll make sure that I definitely take a photo of that, and I'll insert it at some point in this video, probably when I come back at the end of the week to let you know my final thoughts. But honestly, this is just, everything is so soft. It's pretty incredible. I'm actually going to continue using this larger brush to apply my bronzer, also from Vieve. Pretty much just going to be using Vieve from here on out. I'm going to go for kind of a more overall bronzy look. You can definitely use a smaller brush, something like this, when you want to do more of a contour, very specifically placed bronzer, but for today's purposes, I'm just going to keep it pretty chill. Try to keep this whole thing pretty bronzed just because in general I think this foundation was quite a bit light for me. Wow, that's beautiful. These brushes are applying all of the Vieve products really, really nicely, but no surprises there. I would expect that, you know, when you're testing out what you're going to release, that you would use your own products within your line and make sure everything meshes well together. Moving on now to the 121. This is the Blush and Bronze brush, but I am going to just use this for blush using Pesca here. One of my favorite blush shades, particularly for this summer. Like, it just gives you this gorgeous, like, peachy glow. So nice. And then for highlight, I'm going to use the Skin Dew, which is one of my favorite products as well. And we're going to use, this is the 125 highlight brush. And I'm just gonna grab that on the brush. It's a nice flat paddle shape here. And I'm just gonna tap this on. Ooh, that looks lovely. This highlight brush is performing pretty well actually. And I'm gonna take a little bit on my nose as well, just to give it a little bit of dimension. All right, and the very last brush that we have here is the 229 Lip and Line brush. I am going to first apply my lip liner and then my lipstick, and I'll kind of use the brush to blend those colors together and make sure everything is pretty seamless. Okay everyone, this is the final look that we have created with the Vieve brushes. First impressions and the brushes that I like the most. I really enjoyed all of the powder brushes. I thought that these performed really, really well. They're very soft to the touch. They diffused all of the products very beautifully onto my skin. I would definitely consider these as like the outstanding members of the group. I just think that these did a wonderful job. Again, with the application, I'm not noticing anything strange here in terms of fluffing or any of these brushes shedding so far. I just think that the way that these brushes are cut are optimal for putting on your powder products, and I really, really liked them. So major kudos on this front. The foundation and the concealer brush really are going to depend on how this brush washes. I don't know if this is like totally hygienic, it's probably not, but from a foundation brush perspective, I like to actually use these brushes at least twice before I then give them a good washing, just because who has time to use one foundation brush like per day, you know, like that's just, you accumulate so many brushes that you have to wash by the end of the week. So I generally like to use my foundation brushes twice. I am going to actually use this one again tomorrow morning, so I'll be able to include that feedback on Friday when I come back and tell you how I really feel about everything. But so far these applied just fine, but I don't know, like for me there wasn't anything to like ogle about these, you know what I mean? Like they did a good job. For the eyeshadow brushes, I didn't get a chance to use the large eyeshadow brush, so I am going to do a really, really soft diffused look tomorrow morning as well. I'm going to use bronzer and just apply it into my crease and do a very, very light look that way, and so I'll be able to tell you how I feel about this brush, and then I'll give it a washing as well with all the other ones. I did really like most of the eye brushes that are here in this set, and then as well as the highlight brush. This did a phenomenal job applying the Skin Dew. Now what I am super curious about though is if I can use this highlight brush to also apply powder highlight. So that is something that I'm definitely going to use this brush for after I wash it, just because now that it already has like liquid product on it, I don't want to go in and now like try to apply powder with it, because I just don't think that it's going to work well that way. So I'm going to go ahead and wash all of these brushes except for the foundation brush, just because I want to use this one again tomorrow morning. I'll give it ample time to dry, and then we'll see how these brushes perform after their first wash, because that is going to be a really, really good indicator as to the longevity of these brushes. Because at this price point, not gonna lie to you guys, like these better last a lifetime. Maybe not a lifetime, but they should last a decent amount of time. So, all right, cool. I will see you guys at the end of the week with my final thoughts. Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Friday! Yay, I am so excited. All right, let's go ahead and recap the Vieve makeup brushes. So I have now gone through the whole washing them and letting them air dry and then using them one more time. So I have a pretty good, or so I think anyway, I have a pretty good understanding as to whether or not these brushes will last the test of time. So usually when brushes start to fall apart after their first washing, I'm like, bro, that did not happen with these though, so I'm super excited to be able to talk to that. They didn't lose their shape. You can see that there's no extra shedding, and so for the most part I think these brushes have done a really nice job of keeping up after a pretty vigorous washing. Now the one thing I will say about these is that they do stain, so it's very, very difficult. For example, with like the foundation brush, it's really hard. Obviously I used this today to apply my makeup to see how the performance was, but they do stain. It's really hard to get some of that product out of it. You can actually see on the very bottom, closer to the barrel here, you can actually see that some of the staining around just this area was really, really hard for me to get out, and I wasn't able to completely get it to be stain free when I was washing it. So, but that tends to happen with really, really soft white bristles. The other thing I know that I needed to come back and update you on was the highlight brush. This actually applies a powder highlight really, really well as well. I am currently today wearing a powder highlight, and you can see it is just as gleamy, beautiful, blended in with the skin, even with a flat paddle brush like this for your highlights. So that works with both liquid highlights and powder highlights. So in general, would I say that you should go out and buy the Vieve makeup brushes? They are pretty good, okay? Like, they're pretty soft. I really enjoyed using them. I like how, you know, they're nicely balanced when you hold them in your hand. It just feels like it becomes kind of like one with your arm, with your hand. I don't know. The only thing is, price-wise, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know. There are really good brushes out there. Real Techniques is an awesome drugstore brand if you want to look for brushes from that market. And then there are also brushes like I've mentioned them so many times already before, either on my channel here or on Instagram, but LaRousse brushes are also really great too. Those are my go-to when I'm traveling, just because they do come in a really, really convenient set that's easy to travel with. I mean, similar to this, right? This is easy to pack and bring with you as well. So if you are willing to splurge for brushes and you want to support Jamie Genevieve, they're really not bad. They're pretty good. And I did really enjoy all of the eye brushes as well. I think all of my products blended just fine after the washing. I thought they kept up with exactly how I tried them the first time. So yeah, that's pretty much my review on the Vieve brushes. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you liked this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you guys next week for next week's makeup adventure. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye. Not looking. Why do I always say that? The eyeshadow brushes, I would definitely say I didn't get a, okay.